Welcome back to Big Movie Mouth Off, the podcast where three Intermountain West critics get all offended about film. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Adam,
Yes.
Brooks and I want to know how things are going in your new city and your new job. How are you?
Been in Colorado now. We moved here almost 3 weeks ago, and of that time, I've been here for 1 week because I literally was here for 3 days. And my boss called me. She's like, "Hey, I know you got here just now. Can you go back to Utah and train your replacement?" I'm like, "Yes." So I actually was in Utah all of last week and was actually going to go try to see Mother Mary with y'all at the
Mm.
screening, but I was training people all day and then working at the hotel all night. So I did not have any fun time out there. But things are going good. It's my first official recording in the new place. I'm looking out. They have this little like pond with a fountain and stuff. That's kind of cute.
Brooks and I miss you in the theater, but we're super glad to see you on Zoom today and excited to record. You mentioned Mother Mary. That is one of the films we're going to review. It's David Lowery's newest film, starring Anne Hathaway. And we're also going to review the Mario Galaxy movie. We'll do that one first. But before we do any of that, since we're talking about you, Adam, we got to do a little reshoot from our last show. Now,
Uh-oh, what happened?
oh, you're about to find out. So, in our last episode, you might recall we reviewed Project Hail Mary. And I made a
Yes.
point, a very, I thought, astute and very intelligent point about how the movie was definitely going for some Grogu energy with the Rocky character. And Adam fought me on it immediately and said something to the effect of, it's not like I'm going to go out and buy a toy of Rocky. Adam, tell everyone what you found literally the next day on the internet.
I thought that was me.
It was
No, I
Adam.
found it.
Oh
Oh, you
yeah,
might
you
have found
found
it too.
it and I bought it.
Yeah, they're selling plush Rockies now.
Yes, they are.
So who was right, Adam?
Oh, I'm always right, so you'll just have to deal with that.
He was
And we'll-
right
we'll-
that it was available on Amazon for me to order.
And that might be how we feel when we get to our Mother Mary movie, because I already know what you think about it. And I would have loved to have been in the theater with both of you, and we'll talk about it when we get there. But Brooks is the one I'm very intrigued in, because Brooks won't say anything about it.
Good. Smart man, Brooks. I want Adam to be punished for his crimes on the last episode because I was right and he was wrong. And part of Adam's punishment is that he gets to do the synopsis of Mario Galaxy.
Yay.
Dun dun dun.
After we review these two movies, I forgot to mention that we're going to be doing Guilty Pleasure, That's My Boy edition. We're talking about movies where there are prominent father-son duos, villains, heroes, a mix of the two, doesn't really matter, but these are our favorite movies with a really strong daddy-son energy. But back to business, let's do Mario Galaxy. Adam, as your penance, you get to read the synopsis right after a little bit of the trailer.
My Koopas! Your king has returned!
Long live the king!
The Bowser name shall be feared once more!
Oh no! Everyone calm down.
Toad, pack our things.
Let's go.
Let's go!
Oh, princess, you're going to regret that.
Okay, Adam, Mario Galaxy. What's this sequel about?
Well, we're joined by our favorite cast of characters. We got Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Charlie Dayback as Mario, Princess Peach, and Luigi, respectively. But in this one, though, we are following the story of Princess Rosalina, who's played by Brie Larson. She gets kidnapped by Bowser Jr. because he wants to use her powers to destroy the universe to make his dad proud. Oh, and speaking of making his dad proud, he steals Peach's castle, which has baby Bowser in it, or little tiny Bowser. And Peach, Toad, Mario, and Luigi have to go off on an adventure to rescue the castle, and wackiness ensues.
There's a reason why I called reading that synopsis a punishment, and it's because it is way more interesting than the movie itself is.
Yes.
This is one of the laziest sequels I've seen in a very long time. We constantly, especially you and I, Adam, because we love video games, we're constantly talking about a movie that should have been a sequel, but it's really more of a DLC, downloadable content to the first movie. This one really feels like that to me. And I'll be honest, it's making me retroactively like the first one less.
I mean, they always ask us for the exit comments as we leave because it was a press only screening. And my immediate response was if a movie had a difficulty level, this was set to super easy. It's ridiculous. Characters just go from scene to scene with absolutely nothing more than just, oh no, we're stuck in this land. Oh, look, here's someone who can help us. and repeat. It's aggravating and annoying. And I was hoping for a lot more this time because the first one to me felt like a pilot movie where they obviously had to get the characters introduced, the world set up. Here, they think they're setting up worlds, but all they're doing is just putting people in worlds, and that's it. They're just standing around in it until someone whisks them away to the next one. And it's just unbelievable how easy it is for the shenanigans that they get into to end.
If Brooks is right, Adam, and that first movie was a proof of concept, before I hear what you think about Galaxy, did the first movie work for you?
Yeah, was it 2 years ago? I think we reviewed it, and as I recall, like we weren't the biggest fans, but it was pretty harmless. I mean,
It
I
was
think it was
fine.
overall just a
We
fun
liked it.
little movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like it was like 2.5 stars is probably what the average score was going to be. And so, much like, a lot of Mario games until you got to like Mario 64 was you just kind of get more of the same with a few extra things sprinkled in. So now you can fly, and this one you've got
But
a
they were still
cape, and
fun.
exactly. That's all they had to do. But this one almost for part of it felt beat for beat like the original. Like, okay, right here we're gonna have the montage. Yep, there's the montage, and I have a fun story about that. We'll come back to in a minute. Hey, we're gonna have the final battle. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna have the cold open. It was just boring. I don't even say it was DLC. I felt like it was just an add-on pack. Like, you paid $20 for a skin, like in Fortnite or in Call of Duty or something like that. Somehow they took what was at least somewhat magical in the first one and made it worse. Like, I was just bored out of my mind. And the kids in the theater, and I went and saw it with civilians because I had to go, I couldn't make the screening because I was moving. They were bored. But the one scene I will say, so the montage scene is like right when Mario walks out the door, the screen froze, and then that was in the background and superimposed over it in like a rectangle that was much smaller than the screen was the movie playing. And this went on for like 20 minutes. So
Oh
that didn't help
yeah.
either. And then at the end of it, like towards the end, the usher came in and she's like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna fix it. And don't worry, when we fix it, we'll rewind it back to where it messed up and we'll start over." I'm like, please don't. I will literally walk out. I will not
Like
review this film. I will
what could
walk
be
out.
worse than sitting through it once is sitting through 20 more
Yeah.
minutes.
So I don't know. Like the whole point of this is that they said they made the movie for Shigeru Miyamoto, who invented Mario, and he liked it apparently. So they said that's what's important. Like, no, I'm pretty sure the people who are paying tickets to go see it, that's what's important. And it's making a lot of money. It'll probably make another $1 billion again.
I was
So
gonna
we'll
say
we'll get a third.
I think what he liked was the paycheck he's gonna be passing along to his kids.
Probably, yeah, when he's old. So who knows how much longer he's going to be here.
We're definitely going to get another one. That's not even a debate. And we don't punish a movie for the technical difficulties of a theater, but if that's the most memorable thing that happened to you, Adam, while you were there, that does say something.
Yes.
So I mentioned the father-son dynamic, obviously between Bowser and Bowser Jr. It's supposed to be one of the central plot mechanisms for this movie is their relationship and how they're reconnecting and becoming, an evil dynasty again together. I thought it was pretty thin, especially overlaid on something that was and I hate to keep using the same word, lazy as this movie. They could have done so much more with the two of them, two good actors playing those roles, two really fun characters in the Mario universe. I just think they blew it, Brooks. I mean, they just had so much right there.
The only two things that worked for me, you were talking about the relationship, and it's the scene where Bowser is telling Bowser Jr. the bedtime story. For me,
Hmm.
it was kind of fun. I mean, it was at least something different than the rest of the movie. It was like an actual father-son bonding moment, And then there's the rest of the movie until it gets to where Bowser Jr. introduces his ultimate security plan. And all of the security, it turns into the 8-bit and it cuts to that for the animation. And I thought that was hilarious, but they didn't do anything with it. So it was really funny to see it. And then you got over it very quickly because it goes nowhere.
The movie looks great. I think you're right about that, Brooks. There's a lot of great visual tricks, and I think the overall animation style is excellent. It looks great. But
And it's
it's
illumination.
just like that plot point of the father and son, the animation, as good as it can sometimes be, is overlaid on something that has no architecture, no support system, nothing that holds up
It's just
the
there.
rest of the film. It's just kind of there. So at a certain point, you just think, okay, yeah, looks fine, but what are we really doing here? And you referencing the bedtime story is important because That gets referenced in the end credits, which is by far the best part of the movie. If the end credits scroll is the best part of your movie, you've got problems. Adam, what did you think about the performances? They, to me, felt mailed in, but were you convinced by anyone's performance?
No, I mean, they're all just there for a paycheck, and I can't blame them. I mean, that's, it's one of the biggest franchises on Earth. I mean, everyone and their brother knows who Mario is, so you really don't have to. It's got a crazy cast. I mean, not just the people I mentioned, but Keegan-Michael Key is Toad, Donald Glover slumming it as Yoshi. But also, Yoshi like annoyed me. Like every time he was on screen, it was like, just please go away.
I like the popcorn bucket, but that's about it.
I mean, Glenn Powell, Louis Guzman. I mean, it had a great cast, and I think they were having fun, but there was
Someone had
nothing
to.
extra in it. It wasn't like, you know, I think that the voice actors in Wild Robot before anyone spoke accomplished more. The voice actors of the creatures before they even learned how to speak did more with their little grunts and sounds than anyone in the cast did. Now, I'll say two things I liked about it because I think that's fair. I did love how they would kind of sneak in some of like the Mario music. So when they go underground, you'd have like a
Mm.
1 second clip of the underground music. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I really, really did enjoy the fight scene in the casino, the way they would like change gravity and run the walls and stuff. So that to me was fun. So I will say that yes, there were things about it I did enjoy. But yeah, the most memorable thing was when the screen screwed up and I didn't want to have to sit through it again.
Well,
So
Brooks, we are constantly talking about movies that overstay their welcome, movies that are too long. This movie has a pretty brief runtime, all things considered. And to me, it felt rushed. It felt like they didn't have enough to say, and it felt like they were just hurrying it out to the theaters. And I thought that was reflected in the performances. Nobody really gets to do much with their characters. This movie does introduce Yoshi, which is fun. He's a fun addition. It introduces a lot of characters, actually, but
mhm.
a lot of that felt more like fan service than anything that helped the story of this movie. And I realize I just said story. There isn't much of one. I'm just going to jump into scores now because I think we're at that point. I didn't think this worked on pretty much any level except visual. But like I said before, that didn't resonate because there was just nothing underpinning it. The shortness of the film, the thinness of the dialogue, and the story, I think speaks to a dearth of ideas. I just don't think they spent enough time on this. And I hope if they get a third one, they'll do better. I'm going to give it 1 star for how it looked. And that's as high as I can go. Where are you, Brooks?
Well, I mean, when there's a joke that works, it works better than you'd think. But that, again, considering how lame the rest of the movie is, that doesn't say much. And so it's like the movie's constantly setting your bar lower by the second. So then when something funny happens, you're taken aback by it almost. And that's not how a movie should be. It shouldn't be that that was hilarious because the rest of the last 10 minutes were so awful. You can't play that game. The performances were weak. Like you said, it was super rushed. It just, as I said, it keeps going from just one scene to the next as fast as they can. The characters don't do anything to get themselves out of any situation whatsoever. They just look over their shoulders and, oh, look, there's Fox McCloud. He has a spaceship. He's going to get us out of here. And away they go to the next level. And by the time it gets to the end, it's just you feel beat over the head. And I'd rather just go home and play Mario Kart with my daughter. I want to give it 1.5, but I feel like that's being generous just because it's one of those movies where I feel like if I watch it again, I'm going to hate it even more. Where with the first one, I watched it again and I kind of liked it a little more because I could just take it for what it was and it was fine. But this one, every viewing is just going to get worse. So I'm going to go with 1.
Speaking of hated it more, I think we're about to get that with Adam because your texts were pretty angry, Adam. What do you score Mario Galaxy?
I'm at 1. There was enough there that I did enjoy. I mean, like I said, the fight scene was really entertaining. I actually wish more of it would have been like that. But Brooks, you hit it right on the head when it was like, this isn't a movie. This is literally a Mario game, and that they get to the castle and your princess isn't here, and you go to the next castle, and you
Hmm.
go to the next level.
But you're stuck
And
watching someone else play.
exactly. But if I want to go watch someone play Mario, I'll watch a speed run or something like that because those are interesting. For me, also, the first one, I felt there was kind of more of a heart to it. This one,
Mm.
though, really felt like it was a cash grab and do nothing other than go to Best Buy and you can now buy a discounted bundle of Super Mario Galaxy with a Switch 2. That's weird how that all kind of worked out. So the first one was harmless. The first one, I at least enjoyed it enough to where I watched it again and probably would have more fun with it. But this one, rewatching 20 minutes of it made me dread the experience, wanted to walk out. Then I can't see sitting down to watch all 98 minutes all over again.
Well, the first one was on to something, and they forgot what that was with this one. And worse than that, they think we forgot what that was. 1 star all around for the Mario Galaxy movie from Big Movie Mouth Off. All right, let's move in a patented Big Movie Mouth Off right turn to something completely different. This is David Lowery's new film, Mother Mary. Brooks is going to take us through the synopsis. First, some of the trailer.
I hadn't seen her in over 10 years. But I could tell she was coming from 1,000 miles away. Why don't you start with why you're here?
Sam, I need a dress.
So, you've come crawling back to me.
I didn't know where else to go.
Okay, Brooks, I want you to do the best you can with this without giving too much away. Good luck.
Well, Mother Mary, played by Anne Hathaway, is basically this movie's Taylor Swift. And she's had a rift with her fashion designer, Sam, played by Michaela Cole. And she has come seeking her help because she needs a dress for her comeback performance. And lots of dialogue is spilled, and along with some tea. And there may or may not be a possession or two. You'll have to find out by going to see. But they have a lot of contention with each other and have a lot to unravel.
Perfect, Brooks. I wish that everyone listening could go see this movie cold the way you and I did, Brooks, because
I didn't know anything either.
Good. So
Yeah,
you're the
I
same,
watched
Adam.
no trailers.
All I knew is she wanted to dress.
Same
I
That's
knew
all
she
about
was
it.
a singer. I didn't
Yeah.
even know there was a dress.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to talk about this film in such a way that it'll be more difficult for the listener to go in as cold as we did, but we're going to try to keep it as tight as we can because this story needs to maintain the element of surprise to work. It's no secret, I'm a huge fan of David Lowery's movies. You guys have been picking on me about Ghost Story for, I don't know, 30 years, it feels like. But I love his films. I loved Pete's Dragon. I mean, within reason, right? It was a good film for what it was. I loved Ghost Story. I loved Ain't Them Bodies Saints. I'm a fan of this director. I loved Green Knight. I thought it was fantastic. So I went into this very hopeful, very, very excited, and I was not disappointed. And I sat next to my buddy Brooks the entire time. And Adam, I'm not going to lie to you. The entire movie, I was sitting there thinking, I hope Brooks isn't hating this because I wanted him to love it as much as I do. And there was one moment in the movie, and I'm not going to give it away, and neither are you, Brooks, but I knew I had you. Was I right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love this movie. I can't help it. Surprise, Adam. There you go.
All right. Well, you'll have to off air tell me which moment it was because I think I might know, but I want to hear it from you.
We will tell you off mic.
I love this movie a lot. It's got so much going on between the story and the characters, and just I'm sure there's a lot of symbolism that I probably went over my head, but maybe psychologically digested because it just everything in this movie works from the start. Even Anne Hathaway as a Taylor Swift makes perfect sense in this world. And at first I was a little hesitant with that, but the more you saw her perform, the better it got. And she completely wins you over. And then to see just the contrast between the on stage, off stage, and the dynamic she has with Michaela Cole. I mean, those two just put in such amazing performances against each other. Michaela Cole better be nominated for something.
This is one of those movies, Brooks, that we're going to be talking about during awards season. Best picture, best supporting, I don't know, but we're going to be talking about it. Certainly costume design, for sure.
And for me to be touting a David Lowery movie,
I
probably
know.
just tells
This is
everyone everything they need.
easily my most favorite episode so far because of that. But Adam, as a way of bringing you in here, I want to make the point that this movie is basically a two-hander. It's them, it's their story. Even when you see more characters, even when the palette pulls back or changes time and you see more people, it's really about the two of them. And that's not an easy thing to pull off. Do you think it succeeds?
Absolutely, because this movie is 100% carried by these two characters, and yes, there's other people around, like we see her backstage, and we see others like a little helper person who comes in. At first, I thought she was going into a convent. Like when she was walking in there, it felt like something you'd see like in a movie that had one of those. But the performances of these two actors, everything was on their shoulders, and they lifted it magnificently. Like if any one of them was off by like a millimeter of what they needed to be, it would have fallen apart. I do believe we're going to be talking about it at the end of the year. I know this movie's very divisive among everyone. Like, no one seems to be just like in the middle. Either it's awesome or it's just a piece of crap. But I'm in the awesome crowd. So yeah, I walked out and texted you guys. I was like, well, that was a David Lowery movie. And it
Totally.
was. Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't think it was as pretentious. Now, again, I'm not talking crap on you. I'm just saying, for me, Ghost Story did feel kind of pretentious. And I was like, I was going in expecting that because that's what I kind of expect out of a David Lowery movie.
You expected.
Yeah, but yeah, it was artsy fartsy. We're not going to get around
Yeah.
that. I mean, but everything else about it like was fantastic. And yeah, again, I didn't know about the little like I guess we can call it the reveal of the third character who
Right.
plays a big role. I had
Yep.
again going in completely blind. I had no idea any of that was going to happen. And yeah, there is a lot of symbolism and psychology there wrapped up into that, but it worked perfectly for me.
This movie takes a second act, a late second act turn
Mhm.
that they hold back from the trailers, and we're going to hold it back too. But trust us when we say that it's a shock, it's unexpected, and it's super effective as an evolution of their relationship. It's an amazing conceit. It's very high concept, but it's also high reward. And I know that people have hated Anne Hathaway ever since Les Mis. They've never forgiven her for that singing that she does in that movie. I don't know why they don't still talk about Russell Crowe, but they definitely still talk about
Ugh.
her. And I think she's great in this as a singing artist, as a performer. I'm not sure how much of it is her voice. It doesn't even really matter to me. I think quite a bit of it is, but she really embodies that character incredibly well. So the cutaways to her away from those two-hander moments, those really tight bottle plot moments, those cutaways to her in the stadium shows, I think she carries it. She looks like she belongs there. Brooks, there was one point in the movie, it takes a turn into a kind of film that you are predisposed to love. Do you agree with me that it works?
It does. I was surprised he went as far with it as he did, honestly. But it totally works, and it's leading up to that. I was like, if this doesn't go there, then I'm not sure what he's gonna do with the plot, especially when we walked in and the first thing we saw was the on-screen promo thing
Yeah.
and with the tagline,
Yeah.
and we were making jokes about it.
Yeah.
And our jokes turned out to be correct, but in the best ways possible.
Adam, the music parts of this movie are probably one of the things that are most divisive among people who've seen this.
Hmm.
I think it feels pretty faithful to what that life can be like. How did it land for you?
Well, first of all, before we get to that part of it, Anne Hathaway did do all of her own singing, and they did release Mother Mary Greatest Hits, which has all the songs from there. And if you go to A24 and you're a simp like me, you can pre-order the vinyl of it. So
I thought I remembered seeing an email about that.
yeah,
They're
so
good
just
songs.
yeah, just so you're aware of that. I would say this feels almost 100% like what it would be behind the scenes because we all know that these acts, they're all performances, they're all performers, they're all, in a sense, even though they're just singies, they are acting on stage. I mean, I saw Green Day years ago, and Billy Joe ran up and down that stage for 3 hours preaching. And I doubt he does that in real life. So there was one scene where there's a character who made this big thing about her taking all the energy from the crowd in with her, and how does she do that? And she's like, well, I just kind of like do this. And it's not an answer. And she's like, but that's got to be incredibly hard for you. That doesn't really answer my question because, yeah, you are absorbing all that energy, not to mention the hot lights and, all that other kind of fun stuff. So, yeah, I feel that afterwards you get down, like you are just drained. In fact, I think the only unbelievable thing about the movie was when she got done with that huge concert and then the fan came backstage and she was all like upbeat and happy and excited to meet her. It's like, you're dead tired.
Yeah.
Like people who don't think acting or singing or that kind of stuff is a real job obviously has never done it.
Well, it's probably just carrying on the performance side of it.
I mean, yeah, and that's what you kind of have to do when you do. But I know a lot of bands do meet and greets at the beginning of the show because you expend all the energy up there. So
You don't want to do it after.
yeah, I would feel it's very, very authentic to what it's like. And I know Charlie XCX was heavily involved with some of this with the song, so I'm sure they were interviewing them about stuff. But No, I feel like this is a very realistic portrayal of what that kind of lifestyle would be like because it's not glamorous. I mean, there's some glamour in it, but you got Anne Hathaway who disappears into her role. Like I totally
Mm.
forgot it was her until the credits rolled. Like she came on screen, I'm like, oh, it's Anne Hathaway, and then I just forgot, which is what I always like doing. But yeah, I think they nailed it. Again, the twist we're not going to talk about the second act is that's heavy on her mind, and that's causing her a lot of anxiety and stress and depression. And that gets compounded by having to be almost like an idol for people 24/7. And there's mention of a video, which you do finally see. And they're like, have you seen the video? Like everyone saw the video. Can you imagine like having that kind of spotlight on you all the time?
I want to bring in Ghost Story, of course, because I'm not going to waste this opportunity to talk about that movie
He
again with
needs
you
to
guys.
have his pie and eat it too.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Brooks, because that movie has a famous pie eating scene that is, I don't know how many minutes it is, but it's one of the most uncomfortable things anyone's ever
Yes.
committed to film. And this movie has one of those too. And I want to talk about the filmmaking for a second because there's a moment, we're not giving anything away because you see it in the final trailer, where Sam tells Mother Mary to show her her dance, but no music.
Mm.
So she does the dance, and you just hear her grunting and gasping and going through the motions of this dance. It's very physical, it's very raw, and it's super uncomfortable to watch.
Hmm.
That is this movie's pie eating scene. And I think he's learning, guys, because that scene is more tightly calibrated and I think more effective than the pie scene was. We all know what the pie scene was supposed to do. We know what the point of it was, but it went on a little bit too long. It was a little indulgent. It was part of that pretension that you guys were talking about before. I think he's learning. I think he's getting better. Tell me I'm
Oh
wrong.
yeah. This feels the same way I kind of felt like some of these other movies that have been coming out, like we've talked about recently, like Hamnet, the
Yep.
movie that she was hyped to make, finally made it. I feel like this is
Hmm.
his movie. This is the one where he's taken all of his tricks and fine-tuned them enough that he's finally made the movie that we've all wanted to make, that you can universally love and say, yes, this is David Lowery's best film so far.
Adam said I had to go first on scores,
Yes.
so I'm going to do that. I'm probably the least objective person on this podcast
Because
right
this is
now
your scream.
when it comes to
Yep.
David Lowery. This
Yes.
is my scream,
Yep.
absolutely.
I had Scream 8 or 7, whichever you want to call it. Now you get this.
Now I get this, but I believe in this filmmaker and I believe in this film. I think it's excellent. I think it might be approaching masterpiece status. And I'm definitely going to watch it again. And it's given me so much faith for what he's going to do next. When I saw that he wrote and directed it, I will admit I got a little nervous. Is this going to be his only God Forgives? Or is he going to stick another landing for me? He did. I'm at 4 stars for Mother Mary without hesitation. Brooks, where are you?
I mean, the fact that I would be very excited to see it again says a lot. And I, for some reason, really want to watch it with Missy to see her reaction to a lot of it, especially I think with how much she loves Taylor Swift. And so she will already kind of have that world base in her head. And to see David Lowery kind of trample it a little is awesome. But the
Hmm.
performances are spectacular. The symbolism and the metaphors and everything like that actually work without making you feel stupid. And it's just also just entertaining even. And especially for it to turn into the kind of movie that I like. When it came out, I said, this is Count's version of my favorite movies.
Absolutely. It's like I
And
made a Brooks movie.
exactly. It's almost like me and Counts made a movie together.
That's even better.
Me and Counts made a movie that had a baby, and it was David Lowery's 4-star Mother Mary.
Nice. I'm super glad to hear that. 4 stars for Brooks. Adam, are you going to break the chain here?
How much do you want to hate me today? I don't know.
Not going to hate you.
He's gonna
Not
like
gonna
me
hate
more
you.
than you today.
So we've
No.
we've actually had we've had a lot of movies this year that we all gave 4 stars to, and I think this
Yeah.
is going to be another one.
Love it.
Yeah, because like again, I
Mm.
went in with trepidation because I've not always been the greatest fan of him. And like, here's the thing with David Lowery, it's like I like his movies, and then it comes to a point where it doesn't stick the landing. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of where I get to the point where I'm like, ugh, like you don't want to get your hopes up. And it's like hopes dashed is almost
Yeah.
worse than anything else. And so this one I was really concerned as it was starting to wrap up because it's an hour 50 minutes or so.
Right.
And so I was like, how are they going to finish this up? Because it felt like there was too much to do. And then they did, and they didn't make it feel rushed. They didn't make it feel like that,
Hmm.
oh, I painted myself into a corner. What am I going to do? But it made sense. And yes, there's lots of stuff in there that doesn't make sense that you're going to have to go home and mull over and chew through yourself because that's kind of the point of the movie as well. But yeah, this if he keeps on doing this, I will become a Lowry fan because I won't fault him for making gorgeous movies, and the
No.
cinematography on this one's fantastic. And I saw it on laser projection, so that was kind of fun. I'd never done that before.
Ooh.
But again, I can't just go back and say enough about the two mains because again, if they were just like 1 millimeter away from where they needed to be, this whole thing would have fallen apart. And congratulations to them for doing such a fantastic job, and congratulations to Lowry to getting such a performance out of him.
It's a high wire act, this movie, and nobody fell.
There was a
And
little bit of teetering at the end because I think I was almost going to go down a half star because I felt it was getting a bit long in the tooth before it ended. But then they did land it, and that made me change my mind on it.
so you are at
4 stars.
Brooks,
4.
and I'm at 4 stars as well. I can't remember the last time we had one movie where we all gave it 1 star and a second movie where we all gave it 4 stars. This must be a first.
I mean, when you look at the two movies next to each other, it's not that big of a surprise.
I know. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about something that references Mario Galaxy. It's the That's My Boy edition of Guilty Pleasures. These are films that have a significant father-son dynamic. I can't wait to see what you guys came up with, and I guarantee nobody's stealing mine. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is episode 51 of Big Movie Mouth Off. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Guilty Pleasures, That's My Boy edition. Adam, you're my boy. You go first.
Aw. So I was, much like Brooks, I was having some trouble trying to find a thing. Not because the idea didn't pop up. It's just you have to kind of realize there's a lot of movies about father-son duos
It's
that really
tricky.
aren't sometimes.
Right.
Mhm.
And but the one that immediately came to mind after I did some research to see if there was something else, what I had to go with 2007's Hot Rod.
Great choice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So for those who haven't seen it, it was one of the first films. I think it was the first film directed by, is it Kiva Schaffer? I'm always going to say his name wrong. Basically, it's all the guys from The Lonely Island. That's
Right.
kind of where they kind of got
It's
their
a
start with
Lonely
this
Island
movie. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you know what Lonely Island is, you know what to expect. But just the idea of, Andy Samberg trying to make his dad proud by being a stuntman, and he does his stunts on a moped. So that's just silly and stupid. But what really takes the cake for this one that makes it awesome is his relationship with his stepdad, Ian McShane, who's always trying to like fight him to prove that he's
Yeah.
a man. And it's the dumbest thing. And the best plot point in the entire thing is that Ian McShane needs heart surgery or something. And Andy Samberg's character is so angry about it, not because he's sick, but because he might die before he can prove him wrong that he really is a man. So if you like Lonely Island, if you like that kind of humor, this is one I had to watch a couple times for it to kind of click in and for me to like it.
You weren't at the sneak preview wearing your hot rod mustache.
I was not, no. So,
I still have mine downstairs.
but I'm pretty sure it's on streaming everywhere. So check it out. It's if you like Lonely Island, you will definitely love this.
My film is much older, but it has a similar father-son violent dynamic. It's a very different kind of film.
Go
It's-
on.
It's from 1971, and it's
Oh,
a film
wow.
called Sometimes a Great Notion. I bet you haven't
I've never even heard of it.
heard of it, let alone
No.
seen it. All right, it's a movie based on a novel, I think one of the great American novels by the author Ken Kesey. And it's about this very patriarchal Oregon logging family. The dad is Peter Fonda, the son is Paul Newman, who also directed the film. And they are refusing to get involved in a local timber strike, and they are running afoul of pretty much everyone in their town, and they are violent. They're kind of bad people. And it's just really a story about ambition and family and violence and bad decisions. And it's a wonderful book, less amazing as a film, but I do think it works because of Newman and Fonda. And I think people should see it just as an artifact of 1970s filmmaking too, because wow, it looks antique. Even looking at the trailer, you're going to think, I don't know if I can sit through 2 hours of this. But sometimes a great notion. Father-son relationship between Henry Fonda's character and Paul Newman's character is the intense, violent heart of this film. Great book, okay movie. Brooks, what's your guilty pleasure?
So I had a hard time, as Adam said, and so I figure how fitting would it be then to gender swap and go with Borat subsequent movie film?
I'll allow it.
I mean, you've got Borat in an unnecessary sequel that winds up being just as great as the original because no one really knew he was actually going to make it. But the fact that he's trying to sell his daughter into Republican slavery as a wife to Mike Pence is just the best plot line he could have ever picked. And then just the dynamic between him and Maria Bakalova, who'd never been in anything before and got an Oscar nomination for it. Did she win for the Utah Film Critics?
I can't
Can't remember if
remember.
she won, but I
Let
know that
me.
she was
What
at
year was it
least
again?
2020. It was a COVID movie.
All right, I will go look while you're doing that.
It's just funny. I mean, he's obviously very upset that he has a daughter, and that's why he wants to sell her. So, and then for her to wind up being the son he never knew he needed is just the best twist of the whole thing.
I have two things to say, Brooks. First of all, that is a painful stretch you just made on that topic, and I love it. I think it's great. The second thing is, Adam and I both noticed how you slipped in the phrase unnecessary sequel, which is a perfect reference back to
Mm-hmm.
Mario Galaxy. So,
Oh,
Adam,
yeah.
did you find it? Did UFCA
Uh,
give you the award?
Best supporting female actor, yes.
That
She
is a
won?
very
Yes.
UFCA thing to
Yes.
do. Awesome. So, what was yours again, Brooks?
Borat subsequent movie film.
From 2020. Mine was Sometimes a Great Notion in 1971. And Adam?
2007's Hot Rod.
All right. Before we go, let's do our coming attractions. Brooks, why don't you go first? What are you looking forward to?
So I had one, but I think I have a better one. You two may want maybe using the other one. I don't know. So I'm gonna go with one that I'm surprised I haven't mentioned before, which we just finally got the 1 minute, one shot teaser trailer for with Evil Dead Burn. We're
Ooh.
back.
I
We're
haven't even
back
seen
with
this
the
trailer.
Deadites. I'm so excited.
When
Oh,
did the
I think I
trailer
was
drop?
I think I was gonna send it to you, and then I didn't for this reason.
Please do.
But I mean, it's just it, and it's from the director of a movie called Vermin, which was then retitled to Infested, about a building infested with killer spiders. And it's an amazing little film that most people haven't seen. I probably watched it either on Netflix or Shudder, but Infested is absolutely worth your time, and it's creepy and gross and got some good jump scares. And so I can't wait to see what he does with our favorite Deadites.
When does that one come out?
That is scheduled for July 10th.
July 10th. All right. Adam, what are you looking forward to?
Okay, so I can't remember if I've talked about this one, so I'm going to say a name, and then I need you to tell me if it sounds familiar.
That's
Okay.
why I was hesitant on Evil Dead, because I was like, how have I not mentioned this before?
Yeah, Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Oh, yeah. It's
Oh,
these
the
books
book.
by Dinniman.
Yeah,
By Matt
but have I
Dinniman,
talked
right?
about it before? I don't remember.
I can't remember if you have. I think maybe so. But go ahead. Be excited about it a second time.
Okay, so they've been talking about trying to make this a movie or something like that, but they did decide to make it a TV series, and
Ah.
it just got picked up by Peacock. I think it comes out next year. It's by Seth MacFarlane's production company. But for those who haven't heard, basically, these aliens come to Earth to harvest everything, and if you were under anything with a roof, you got squished and turned into like their stuff. So this guy, Carl, and his girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, basically enter a labyrinth maze, and it's kind of like the game Diablo where they're trying to get to the final level. And if they get down there, they can get their wish granted. So there's a series of, I think it's 7 books. There's an eighth one coming out soon. So I tried to do the audiobook because I had a free credit on Audible, and the guy who reads it sounds like Patrick Warburton, and I just couldn't. It was too hard. It was like listening to Kronk from Emperor's New Groove read this book. So I just went and picked it up to read it. I've torn through 2 books so far. I just started the third one. Especially as a gamer, it's a ton of fun. So that one, I think it comes out next year. But Dungeon Crawler Carl, the Peacock series.
I believe the book is what you were excited for last time.
I was going to say the same
I
thing.
might have been the
Brooks.
book.
It was a coming attraction for the
Yep.
book.
That's,
Yeah. Well,
that
they-
sounds right to me.
Gotcha.
So
That,
now we
it
got the
sounded
TV show.
familiar. So now we have the TV show. And then the backup one I have was the game Saros, which comes out on PS5 tomorrow as we record. It's by Housemarque, who did Returnal. It's a bullet hell. Same type of thing. New planet, new abilities. But that one's also exciting too. So.
And it has a South Asian main character, something that never happens in
Yeah.
AAA video games. That's one of the coolest aspects of it. All right. Well, the thing I'm looking forward to won't surprise either one of you because you know I love Guy Ritchie's movies.
Yes, or we do too.
He's got this film called In the Gray, not one of his greatest titles, but it's coming out in May. It's basically a heist crime movie like any Guy Ritchie movie should be. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal. It's got Henry Cavill. It looks great. It looks like fun. It looks like exactly my cup of tea for a May movie. And like I said, it comes out May 15th. It's called In the Gray by Guy Ritchie. What was yours again, Adam?
Dungeon Crawler Carl, the TV series.
TBD release, right?
TBD. I believe it's 2027, but yes.
Got it. And Brooks, yours?
Evil Dead Burn on July 10th, just in time for summer.
Well, before we sign off on episode 51, I want to remind all of you that we had a reshoot, and that reshoot was that I was right and Adam was wrong. It's really quite simple.
That's all we need to know.
Okay, I'm leaving the show now, so bye.
You beat me. No.
Not only was I right that there would be Grogu-style toys of Rocky, Brooks has one.
Not yet, but it's
He will have one. All
They
right,
keep
well,
changing the date.
I jest, of course, but it's not a frequent opportunity that I get to rub Adam's nose in something, so I thought I would do that. But kudos to Adam, because the minute he saw that toy,
I did share it.
He shared it with us and said, well.
I think I Googled it as soon as he mentioned it. I was
Absolutely.
like, what? Where?
We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Adam is all settled now, so we should be able to get back on a more regular schedule. We're glad you're happy, Adam. We're glad things are going well.
Yeah.
We're super glad to have you back on Zoom. So until next time on Big Movie Mouth Off, I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Thank you for being with us. Big Movie Mouth Off was produced and edited by me, Jeff Counts, and co-hosted by Adam McDonald and Brooks Bird. Our theme music is written by Brian Z. Richards, and this show is dedicated to the memory of our founders, Jeff Michael Weiss, and my partner in crime for over 5 years, the incomparable Jimmy Martin.